Welcome to the channel and a new project, and I'm a little bit underdressed for this one. That's more like it. It's going to be one of these kinds of projects. I know bags don't do particularly well as videos, and I don't care. This channel is all about making what I want to make and sharing ideas with you. If you are on my Patreon, you will have already seen the main component of this project. I gave everybody a sneak peek at that ages ago when I found it. And it is this, which, I have to be honest, I don't know what it's for. I don't know what its intended purpose is. All I know is it's fully beaded in glass beads, this leopard print pattern. It's lined with a gold satin. And I knew, when I saw it, I wanted it to make something out of. I just didn't know what. And then quite by accident, I folded it up to put it away, and look, it makes a satchel bag. But you can't just sew that together and be done with it. There's a bit more structure involved. We've got to figure out how to get a strap on it, because you want to be able to wear it, obviously, and use it. And really, you could do with a bit of depth down the side, so it's not just like a pouch, so it's a bit more practical. My other concern is, because of how heavy this is, which will be fine when you're carrying it as a bag, I don't want to put too much stress just on this on its own. I want some structure underneath it, so that this is basically a decorative item over the top of another bag. With that in mind, I had a look through the stash, and I have some black cotton. It's fairly sturdy stuff, it's quite nice. This will be a nice strong basis for everything, but it's a bit boring. I mean, I know a fully beaded leopard print bag is exciting, but we need to go extra, we need to do more. So this is good as a practical solution for part of it. I've also got some salvage curtain lining. This is going to be good for some structural elements. I have an idea for the bag strap that's a bit different. I've been playing about with some ideas on how to make bag straps without buying lots of things, how to make it just using what I've got. So I'm going to try an idea with this, and we'll see if it works, but you won't see this fabric at all. This will be inside, just structural. So the final piece of the puzzle, I'd been looking for some velvet. I wanted some heavyweight gold velvet. I thought that would be best. I was really struggling to find something. As I've mentioned in other project videos, I like to find things, just whatever happens to be available, and work with what I can find. I don't like to go out specifically to find it. I could go online and I could find exactly what I'm after, but I'd rather just stumble across something. It's more my creative process. So when I found this stuff, I was very excited. It's a metallic, well, I don't know what it is. I'm guessing it's a polyester Lorex blend or something like that. But it's a gold metallic leopard print on a black ground. And I love this. I have far too much. I bought a metre, but it's 60 inches wide. So there's way more than I need for this bag. So this will be making an appearance on something else. I don't know what yet, but this is probably going to find its way into my wardrobe. Yeah, so there's a lot. Do you know what, having said that though, one thing I don't like on this jacket is these lapels. I don't like the way they've done the lining, so maybe? Not for this video. Not for this video. I've done some measuring. I've worked out roughly what I want to do with the bag. I am a little bit restricted because I can't cut up that beaded piece. I've got to keep that whole. So really I've got to, whatever I make, I've got to rely on that being able to be folded around it. And I think I can do that. I'm not going to do any fastenings on this. No zips, no buttons. Again, if I'm trying to put buttons and things on with that beaded material, I'm going to run into problems having to make holes through the beaded stuff, and that's going to make that weaker. So we're just going to rely on the weight of it to keep the flap shut, and I think that'll be perfectly fine. This is, after all, a bag that you're just taking out for show. It's not going to be an everyday handbag. Although you could have it as an everyday handbag or satchel, I suppose. I was going to say it's a bit big for a handbag, but those of you who have handbags, there's no such thing. Anyway, let's get planning and cutting out and see where we go with the next stage. I'll be honest with you on the pattern of this bag. I'm kind of making it up as I go along. I don't have a pattern I'm following. I'm just going with what shape I think it should be, and then seeing what I can make. It's all rectangles, so that does make things a bit easier. And because I've got that beaded panel, I've already got a rough guide for proportions. If this works, I will save this as a pattern so that I can make more of them in the future. I've got a feeling it will. Yeah. Let me show you how far I've got so far with this. I have a metre of this leopard print stuff. I'm not sure exactly what it is, apart from awesome. So this is the back of it, although you could arguably use it for the front. And here are my black fabric pieces. This is a cotton, and I've got everything laid out. So this is the main part of the bag. And what I'm doing is the front and the back panel and the bottom are all one piece, because that's where a lot of the stress is on the structure, especially the bottom of it. And then these are the side panels, which will go here and here. These little rectangles will sew up to become the D-ring holders for the bag strap, and then this here is the bag strap. Now, because I'm not sure which bits I want in leopard print and which bits I want in black, and because doubling these two up will be stronger, I'm just going to cut everything out in both fabrics and see what we've got. Hopefully that will be enough. It's another day. Things have been thinging, so it's taken me a while to get back on this project. I've already done the outside of the pouch for the bag, the main body of it, but because this is black with black thread, it's really hard to record, so you wouldn't really see anything. So I did that bit off camera, but we're all ready to go, and it meant that I could test out the construction method for doing the more delicate fabric, the more expensive showy stuff, which will be the lining of the bag. And I can show you that on the good old Singer 201K that I'm always using. We will get to the beaded section later. There's some hand sewing to do on this one, so yeah, that might be an off-camera job as well, but we'll find out later. Let's get this bit put together. When you sew the body of the bag together, you need to be aware of a little bit of a construction thing. So the body is three pieces. You have the big rectangle that forms the middle and the bottom, so that wraps all the way around. And then to give you the sides, you have these slimmer rectangles. And what you need to do is sew down the long edge on each side first. So you've got the top of the bag here, which is open, and the bottom, which isn't. Don't sew down here, turn and sew up here, because what will happen is you'll end up with the tops misaligned. So it's always best to do long sides first, and then I'll show you how we do this bottom bit once I've done that. With both seams done, the one thing I made sure of was that I didn't go all the way to the end. You need to leave a little gap, and that little gap needs to be about your seam allowance width, because now what we're going to do is on the big part, not this thinner part, you need to cut a little slot. And your little slot needs to go to join up that stitching, but don't go through the stitching. The reason for that is that then allows you to pull the fabric flat is a little bit fiddly, so that you can sew that bottom edge together by scissors. So you will have to fiddle about with this just a little bit to manipulate it where you want it, and if you're very, very good at this, when you turn it out it's a perfect corner. I'm not always that good at it, but we'll see what we end up with once I've actually done this bit. I'd say that is a reasonable finish. I'm quite pleased with that one. That means we've got the two main bodies of the main part of the bag put together. So I need to put this inside the black and sew most of it together. I'm just going to sew the long edge on the top, but I need to leave these short edges open for now, because I've got to put the strap on this, or rather the strap holders. So yeah, let's do these long edges, and I think I might have to tack these bottom corners together just to stop the whole bag from turning itself inside out in a way we don't want it to. Got them all pressed, and what I've got is both halves turned inside out. Then you have to line up the bottom on each of them so that your side seams, so that's the skinny panel that we put in, are pinned together. I'll sew these seam allowances, so this is the side that is like sticking out into the inside of the bag. I'll sew those together, and that will make sure that the bag stays like in itself. It doesn't try and turn itself inside out. And then I've got the fun of doing all the 3D thinking, where we turn this inside out and right side out and sew the seams together and make it invisible. You're on your own with that one, because every time I try and explain that, it ends up being a nightmare. Back from the ironing board again. There's a lot of going back and forth to the ironing board. We now have the inside of the bag sorted. I would love to tell you how I figured out how to turn this the right way out, and how I figured out how to sew it together so I didn't end up with a Mobius strip, but I can't. I'm not even entirely sure how I did it myself. Yeah, but we've got a really nice leopard print lining there, that gorgeous metallic fabric. I really like this, and it's quite stiff, so it does sort of stand up on its own, which is a little added bonus there. Whether it'll do that with the weight of the beaded bit, I have no idea. We'll find out in a bit. Next up, to finish off this part, I need to put the tags in for holding the bag loops. So, because I want these to match the bag, I'm doing each one in 2 pieces, and then we sew them together and turn them the right way out again, so that you're making a little tube, kind of, and that will hold these D-rings. So obviously this is inside out and very rough, but that will be on the side of the bag, and that will hold on the strap itself. This is the core for the bag strap, so I've made it so it's long enough to work over your shoulder like that, and it's made from 3-inch wide strips of cotton. Nothing more complicated than that. And I've just done a standard braid on there, just by hand. There are other ways you can do straps like this. You can actually buy cording specifically, but I had a lot of this cotton left over. I use it for construction and mock-ups and that sort of thing, and it actually gives a really nice, soft but very strong feel to a strap. It's very comfortable when it's actually on your shoulder. Only doing one strap on this, I'm not going to double it up. I think one will be fine, and that will be inside a tube of fabric to match the rest of the bag. I'm going to buzz through a few of these bits and then we'll put things together. I think this part's going to go fairly quickly. I do hope so. Well, these were certainly a challenge to put together, but that is my two little loops made. The black fabric I'm using is actually quite grippy against itself, so they really didn't want to turn out. But we thread the D-ring on there and fold that in the right place. There we go. That is the little loop. But most of this you won't see because on the side of the bag pouch here, so this is that skinny bit that we put in, I need to put the D-ring on the loop and then, that's fiddly, we drop the loop down in there and I will top stitch this piece, and I'm also going to top stitch all of this loop that you see visible all the way down to here where it goes to, and that should give me a really nice strong connection. It should look nice and smart as well, providing I'm careful with my pinning and I sew in a nice straight line, and that should give some decent life to the bag. I don't think the bag's the sort of thing you'll use every single day, but just in case, we'll make it as strong as we possibly can, so if somebody who gets this wants to wear it every single day, they can. Right. That's probably the hardest part of this whole thing to make. And I think before I sew those in, I'm going to do the bag strap itself. And the way I've done the bag strap is I've got black and leopard print, but the leopard print's going to be on the outside on both sides of the strap because I'm using the black as extra strength in the strap. So I shall make a tube by sewing. So we've got black on one side, leopard print on the other. And we sew them leopard print to leopard print down the long edge, leaving the short edge open. And then we turn the whole thing out. And then I thread the cord through, and when I've threaded the cord through, I can then sew that in at the top here, and I'll either use a rivet or a button or some stitching or a combination of all the above to get all of this located in place once I've got the D-rings fastened to the bag, because of course this has to go through this. It's a whole process. Can you tell I don't make bags very often? This is, I think, the third or fourth bag I've ever made. So, yeah, I'm learning as I go along here rather than teaching you how to do it. Hopefully we'll end up with something good at the end of it. This strap. This has to be the hardest thing I've ever had to turn out. It just did not want to go, partly because of that black fabric being very, very grippy, but also the leopard print frayed quite a bit, and as I was turning it out, it was making just a knot of frayed strands. Very, very irritating. So that took me about an hour, which is far too long. Luckily, the braided cord thing that I've made, that went a lot easier. So I've put a little safety pin in the end and then threaded a knitting needle with a good round head on it, because then it won't pull through that, and that threaded through beautifully. This was really easy to put the core into. I'm very happy about that. That means now all of my component pieces for the bag are all done. So I'm going to secure the ends of this braid, because I've got to trim that end there, see? So secure the ends of this, and then I can start constructing the handle and everything. But, you know, it sits nice, like a strap should do. I'm quite happy with that. Yeah. Let's put it together, and hopefully all the difficult stuff's done now, and it's just going to be a nice easy job to finish this off. It is a trooper, this old machine. We are getting there. I don't know if the machine will go through this, and I don't have any rivets that are a suitable size, so I might have to hand sew this, which I'm not looking forward to. But the strap is all done, and you know, you can wear it that way. It's more designed to just be on your shoulder, but when I tried to do that on the mannequin, it just wasn't happy about it. It's fine on me. But yeah, so the bit I've just been working on was here, so you can see that's where the tab is for the D-ring, and that's how far down into the bag it goes. Top stitched the very top there, and like I said, black on black, it's difficult to show you. It's even worse on the leopard print, you can barely see it on there. But we have now got the inside of the bag and the bag strap made, so I just have to attach that, and then I've got this to attach, and I can't do that on the machine because of the beads. I will shatter them all if I try, so I have to attach this by hand, because this piece ends up being the whole outside of the bag. So we fold that bit up, and then that becomes your satchel flap that goes over the top. I'm not going to put a fastening on this because it's so heavy that it will just hold itself shut anyway. And it will also give the bag just a little bit more structure than it's got at the moment, and should look pretty good. Not quite reveal time. I need you for one more minute here. You need to check the description box down below if you haven't already. I know I say it in every video, if you're irregular, sorry. But those are the best ways to support me. Visit my website, that's angel.co.uk. That's the main hub. That's where you can find everything that I do. Do subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. I'm trying to hit that magic 1,000 subscribers. I'm getting pretty close. It would be great if I could do it by the end of this year. That will really help promote things better. If you've got a bit of pocket money spare, sign up to my Patreon. The monthly support there is absolutely vital to what I do. I don't have a second job. This is what I do for a living. I create things and I show you what those things are. And that's it. That's what I rely on, which is insane when I say it out loud. But there we go. Yeah, obviously subscribing to YouTube is free, sharing the videos is free and great for me because I get more eyes on what I'm doing here. And I'm not going to keep you any longer. Let's go into that reveal so you can see what this ends up looking like once I've spent however long it is doing the hand sewing. I think that turned out alright. Yeah, it's a good sized satchel bag. I like that. And you can get decent sized things in it. This, like a lot of the other stuff I make, will be available on the website soon. Patrons will get early access to the finished article. And yeah, I'll leave you with some glamour shots and hopefully see you next time.